It gives me great pleasure to introduce you guys to Brighton-based duo, Mae and George of the band WREX. Welcome to the podcast.
Thanks so much for having us.
Hi.
Abs- Yeah, absolutely my pleasure. But yeah, WREX, a new band for me. I discovered you guys after getting a mail shot from one of your publicists. Um, and I love the song that you released straight away. That's why I've got you on here. You've basically, we'll talk about the EP, we'll talk about the songs in a moment. But what I'd like to do to start with, if it's all right, is just get like an origin story of you guys. Because like I said, you're a new band to me. You're probably going to be a new band to a lot of my sort of listeners and stuff like that. But I'd love to get like your origin story.
Yeah. So we actually met, I think it's was it about 5 years ago now?
Yeah, it would have been around then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
About five or so years ago, just at one of the local venues. Um, George was playing that night, but I totally missed his performance. But we we ended up I'd meeting later at the bar
Hmm.
and then just kind of phased out from there. But then fast track a few years later
Yeah.
and we start writing music together.
Nice.
Yeah, it was probably about two years after that.
Okay.
We started May sent me some songs and then yeah, we just kind of I love the songs basically. There was like two demos that May sent me and I was like, this is cool. Could totally see how you could turn this. There was like acoustic demos.
Nice.
And I was like, I could totally hear how you could turn this into a rock song. Um, and we hung out and had a go. And it just was, I don't know, from my point of view, as like from a writing perspective, it was one of the most natural and easy sessions I'd ever done.
Excellent.
Like, and we just, without even meaning to, then like wrote like, we did that, then we'd meet up the next week and do the same. And before we knew it, we had like four songs like finished top to bottom, like very organically.
Yeah, it wasn't even like necessarily us saying, oh, well, this day we're going to write, this day we're going to do
Yeah.
this. We were just hanging out, and the outcome of that was music, which was fantastic.
Yeah. And it was before we knew it, we'd written these four songs. And then I remember the conversation of like, I was like, is this, do you want this to be a you project? And like, it's going to be like May, or is it like a standalone thing? Or do you want me, how do you want me involved in this? And May was like, oh no, like I don't want to do this on my own.
Absolutely did not want to be at the front like by myself. So dragged him into
Nice.
it.
Excellent. And then obviously we are here today. I mean, you've got a few releases out already. As part of my little discovery that I was looking into you guys. Obviously before this, the first single I found on one of the streaming services was Vacant. Um,
Oh, that was our fourth one?
Yes, that was our fourth single we
okay.
put out. But funnily enough, I would say that's the first one that was like we always kind of think of that one fondly as like the first Rex song as you kind of know it now. It was the first one that was like a full on, I've got a bit of a song. Not May didn't turn up with a full song. She had a bit of one and we kind of fully wrote it together and
Yeah, that was fun.
evolved it and it feels like the archetype of what has obviously it's out as Rex, but it's the
Yes.
archetype of what of definitely the records that then followed.
Yeah.
That was the first one that was like completely made in this room, wasn't it? Really?
Yeah.
Nice. Nice. I mean, it's a nice way because like a new band, and obviously a lot of new bands that I sort of chat with, this is like it's usually their first release, so this is all I hear. But actually hearing your previous track, it was the Paradise EP as well,
Mhm.
um, and things like that, that kind of come across in the past couple of years. All fantastic records. I'm honestly surprised at myself. I hadn't heard of you sooner. Because I seek out bands that fuse a lot of rock elements with electronic elements, things like that. Because that's like totally my kind of wheelhouse when it comes to DJing. Or I used to have a radio show that specialized in it, basically. So I've got bands you probably heard of like Seething Akira, Collisions, Chemists, Pendulum, all that lot. That sort of that have this sort of crossover sound, and you guys fit right into that, which is fantastic. So where does your sort of like inspiration sort of like lie with that? Because obviously there's a lot of elements in there. There's obviously rock, metal, electronic, dance music, stuff like that. So where do your sort of collective sort of inspirations lie?
I think Linkin Park's a pretty solid one for both of us.
Yeah.
I know they're not super on the like electro side, but there's like obviously like a decent element of it comes from there. But I was quite into dance music growing up. Like one of the first artists I went to see was Faithless.
Ooh, nice.
So yeah, so I've kind of got that mashup of like the rock and the dance going on in my childhood.
Excellent.
Um,
Yeah, same. I kind of grew up around a lot of sort of indie dance music that was going I don't sort of it was just played in my house. And I kind of came from that side of it. The band I was involved in before this project um had electronics in a different way, in a more orchestral way, but I learned a lot from that um particular project. I learned a lot, and I think we then kind of coming into this, yeah, Faithless. I love like that sort of 90s, early 2000s dance music and how we could cross these two things and meld them in it. I think Linkin Park's always been the archetype for us. Thinking
Okay.
if we could kind of if we can always think of it as like we always kind of reference Linkin Park, but with I guess dance music instead of hip hop.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Nice. I mean, like I say, that's totally my sort of like wheelhouse. Again, I grew up like in the sort of drum and bass scene. Early sort of DJing experience was with that pop music, all that kind of stuff. And then like obviously as things went on, I've always sort of loved metal as well. I was into sort of, the usual Guns and Roses. I'm quite old, so Guns and Roses, stuff like that. But when bands started to cross over that sound, obviously new metal was massive for me. Because a lot of that
Mm,
came from that. Obviously, Linkin Park were part of that, and there are a lot of bands, Static X, stuff like that, had that more industrial vibe. Um,
mm,
but yeah, no, like you guys really fall into that, and it's great to sort of hear, people still making that sort of music. Obviously, there are bands out there as well, but more bands doing this, which is fantastic. And again, like this EP you've got coming out in August, it's called "This Hell Goes a Long Way Down," which is the name of the track that I heard first of yours as well, which is fantastic. But yeah, tell us a bit about that because I know you just released Heaven's Gate as well. I think that was last week as a single.
yeah.
But yeah, tell us about how this EP is sort of come together.
well, This Hell Goes a Long Way Down was that was a bit of an anomaly, really, because we'd written a bunch of songs, or like started a bunch of songs at least, that we thought were going to be the EP. And then we wrote This Hell Goes a Long Way Down, and suddenly that was the start of the EP. Everything else was like no longer good enough. It no longer hit the same as this new song. So we almost then had to start again from scratch with what was this like new evolved version of us.
Yeah, yeah. This whole it was kind of like for me, it was like I think there was about 7 songs that just overnight got binned. Like we'd been working for like 3, 4 months, like writing and not I don't say like grueling away, but like really just like testing the waters, trying new sounds, and we were. I feel like what's happening is we were going down a path, and then and that's kind of like there's a song called Static Waves and Recovery, and I like those 2 songs, and I'm proud of them, but the rest of what we were writing was very safely down that same path. It was just like it was becoming very just safe. And then this hell goes a long way down. We wrote that, and it was just like we immediately just went the other way, and it was just something interesting. And
It's so easy as well, that one. That was like that's like
yeah,
basically written in 24 hours, pretty much, wasn't it?
Nice.
yeah, it was. I think like the bulk of it I kind of put together on like a lunchtime at work, and like I think 15 minutes, like had this idea. And then it was almost like ignoring everybody for the rest of the day until I could get home and get the idea out of my head and finish it. And then I kind of it was one of those ideas where it was like, I don't know if this is going to be Rex or not. I
Yeah.
just need to explore this idea for the sake of it, which was the fun part. And then for what kind of classic Rex, for what was then done for me, May then comes in and adds this whole other perspective that took the song and a completely just added it and elevated it again in a different direction, which brought it out in that way. And I think it just ended up being this moment where we were like, no, this is what we want to do. We're so stoked about this, so much more than anything else we're currently doing. then we've never said anything we don't want to say, and we don't want to start now. So we're going to continue down that path and follow where that what feel this feels good. So let's follow that vibe.
Yeah, cool. That's really cool. And obviously, what are your sort of like? I know it's a really weird thing to ask any artist, but I'm going to ask you, what are your sort of hopes and aspirations for this EP? I know you've got a tour coming up, which we'll talk about as well. But what are your sort of like hopes for this one? Because obviously, I've just discovered you. There's going to be a few other people that may have just discovered you as well, press wise, because I hadn't, I've like I said, I've usually got my ear to the ground, so it's really weird for me not to, especially when you're like just down in Brighton as well. Um, but yeah, what are your sort of like hopes for this EP coming up?
I guess to reach like a bunch of new listeners that we haven't before, because especially with the tour, we're playing a lot of cities that we haven't played before as Rex. Like you'll have been to a lot of them before with other
Yeah.
bands, but we haven't really ventured that far as us. Like we've done a London show, but again, that wasn't like our own show.
Yeah.
So this will be the first time that we are kind of going to all these new cities and putting our footprint on them for the first time. So hopefully they will like the songs on the EP enough to come and see us.
I think we've only done like two or three out of town shows
Yeah.
to this point. And yeah, for me, my hopes are that like to spread Rex and just to share what we do
Yep.
live with more people and in terms of the tour. In terms of the EP, I think it was just we wanted to set ourselves up for an album in the future, but we didn't want to like do that too soon. Not just because like not in terms of an audience. I think like we learned so much about ourselves throughout this EP and found a whole new bit of Rex and did a whole new thing that like I'm excited to do that again in an amplified way
Mhm.
for an album when the time comes. And I think this EP was like
I think it's got a lot more emotion in it. Like I think we've explored a lot more of ourselves. Like whereas
yeah.
previously it's all been like similar emotions. This one I feel like we've got a bit more attitude.
Yeah, I think the last EP for me, I'm proud of it, but it was the goal of the last EP was to put something together that was a cohesive sound.
Yeah.
Everything had been singles before then. And then since then, we've like started playing with a live band and seen how that evolves things. So I think this EP was like, what does you know, thinking about it a lot more as a band rather than like a what I would call like an internet band. You know, ultimately the first record was all done in this room. It was all I programmed and did all the drum stuff myself. Whereas this one there was a lot more collaboration, which I was like excited by. You know, it brought a whole new lease of life to the project.
Yeah. I mean, I was going to ask as well, like you already covered it, but you've got a live band.
Yes.
So you are a duo, so I was like, how does that work live? I've seen a couple of duos and a lot of it's computer driven. And then, guitarist, singer, etc. But you actually have a full live band.
Yeah, this was only since Paradise came out. That was kind of when we were like, right, we should probably take these to a stage somewhere and just
Yeah.
kind of, make it a real band.
Yeah, yeah.
Go
No.
outside for once. But yeah, we've got quite a few people actually that we bring in. We've got like kind of our usual go-to crowd,
Yeah.
but obviously everyone's not always available. And luckily we've got quite a few friends that enjoy the music enough to come and spend time with us.
Yeah.
Nice.
They all kind of jump in and jump out, and it's kind of we have this like our whole like mission statement vibe is like to have fun and enjoy it, and
Yeah.
like for everyone who turns up and plays, like May said, we're lucky enough that there's so many great musicians around us that I'm so excited that they just want to jump in and they help out and play like come and play shows, and like our bassist, me and him have been in bands together for like 10, 15, nearly 15 years,
Oh wow. Okay.
and like I just think of it as when I play a gig and I'm stood next to that guy, I'm just like, we're still doing this. Like, um, and yeah, like we're really fortunate to be surrounded with people like that who um, share our excitement for it,
Excellent.
um, and jump in and out when they can, because they're all massively accomplished in their own right.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
when they're available, and they can do it, they come and do it. And we've kind of worked it out in a way that it can be stripped back and be quite computer focused, and it could
Okay.
effectively be a three piece if it had to be.
Yeah.
But ideally, the way we want it and the way is currently it's a five piece. I'd love it to grow and be more and like, eradicate the laptop at some point, and go back to like my sort of punk um roots,
Yeah.
with that electronics being done live. I'd love to do that, but it would be again finding the time and the team to do so.
Yeah. Yeah. I can
Space
imagine.
stage at this point.
Yeah, yeah, the
Yeah, I was
space.
going to say
The
that
fun.
too. But I was gonna say, so I mean, because knowing from my experience of like playing with different musicians and stuff, I always found it weird. Like, I always had a core of musicians, and then if someone came in, it was always strange. But obviously, you guys kind of you have friendships that work with that. Like, you've got that kind of like I'd say pool of talent, if you will, to pull from. And Brighton is a huge talent pool, especially for the rock and metal community. There's so many, and like electronic side of things, obviously as well. It's huge in that respect. I've been down there so many times for shows, and so I've played gigs down there myself. I've DJed down there, and it's just full of creatives, which is great. It's a bit like
Yeah,
Bristol in that respect.
yeah,
Yeah, very
yeah.
lucky.
Very, yeah. Lucky and fortunate. That's all I can
Yeah,
like
no, that's all good.
say.
That's
It's
all good.
wicked. It's
Um, yeah, no, I was just gonna say, I missed one of your shows. You played local to me. I think about a week, 2 weeks ago. You played,
Guildford, right?
yeah, in Guildford. Yeah,
Did my
and
research.
I saw the poster up in the Star because I DJ there as well occasionally. And I was there for something else, but I saw your poster up in the thing. I was like, I just been sent their music. But I couldn't make the show because I was actually out that night. But no,
That's
that
a
was,
sneaky good venue. That wasn't
yeah,
expecting that. I'd never been there before.
no, it's a great little thing. Like we host a monthly like rock and metal night, like
Mm,
DJ rock and metal night, and yeah, it's great because people go through and it's like this traditional pub, and you come out the back and it's like this little venue, and it's great. And like for having a club in there and stuff, DJs up on the stage and whatnot. It's great. It's a great little intimate venue. It's only about 100 capacity, but
mm.
you get 50, 40, 50 people in there, and it's packed.
Yeah,
So
it's cool.
and the staff there are great as well. So I see, I've known them for years, but they're fantastic people there. But no, I'm hoping to catch you on your upcoming tour. Just that little segue there, it was great. Um, in August, you've got basically I'm going to read out the dates because starting on the 16th, you're playing in London, the Black Heart in Camden. You got the Green Door store in Brighton. After that, and a couple of days after that, you're playing in the Anvil in Bournemouth, playing in Bristol, Louisiana. You're playing at Fuel in Cardiff, and the Portland Arms in Cambridge. So it's a nice batch of venues you got there on that tour. Are any I'm missing?
No,
No, that's everything.
No,
Yeah, a lot
everything.
of new cities for us.
Yeah, and obviously tickets are available for people who want to go buy
They
and
are
discover,
indeed.
discover new bands. This is a great, fantastic thing. So I'm kind of torn between where to go with it. I've just got to find out what I'm doing on those particular days. London is usually where I go to, but Bournemouth and Brighton are sort of equidistant apart from me here. So um, we'll see. We'll see. I'm going to try and catch it one of those days. But like I say, with other people, go see them. And your EP is coming out on the 16th of August as well.
yeah, that's
So
the date.
literally the launch party. Is that going to be the launch party at the Black Heart? Is that what you're
Yeah, it's all gonna be like, yeah, I mean, the whole
Whole
thing
thing's a
is
party.
the big whole thing's the party. Yeah, we're kind of we're taking a big punt on this, I guess. Like we're putting on every show ourselves, and
Oh, really? Okay.
yeah, so we just well, May we put on all the shows and we found bands that we like, and we
Yeah.
just every night it's a party. It's just like bands that we like are into and think we shared a vibe and we reached out to, and yeah, we're taking a big punt on it and hoping that like that people share that vibe and
Yeah.
that party aspect. Our whole, I always remember like, one of the first things we did as like a release. I think it was for Vacant actually. We did like a boat party here in Brighton where
Wow.
we hired a boat and we just got
So
everyone
messy.
on it and basically just bought a load of booze and was like, come and party. And that, I think from that moment onwards, our whole ethos has kind of been like it kind of set the rather than just a gig that it's like it's it's an event that we want to make. We want to make it more than just a gig, but like build a scene of people that we can share that with. And like our first release show, our first show we put on ourselves as well. So it's always been like building a community and sharing that with everybody that's, our little rock and metal community that everyone's part of. And if
Yeah.
there's pockets of that we can plug into around the country and that we share that ethos with, wicked. But if there's not, we want to bring what we've got
Yeah.
wherever everyone is.
And have you got like local supports at each venue, or are you actually taking a tour support with you?
So we've got some artists that do more than one date.
Okay.
Um, but a lot of the times it's like whoever's available for whichever one. So there's only a few people that actually announced yet. So I can't
Right.
remember which ones I can and can't say. Um, we got Tom Saint on London and Bournemouth, and the support that we've got for that, they're doing the same dates as well. So that'll be the same lineup for those two.
Okay.
They're unannounced yet. So and then we've got Bitter Kisses in Bristol, which I'm really looking forward to seeing as well. I actually heard of them through one of my friends, and then checked them out, and they're great. I think they'll really suit us on the lineup. Um,
Tether from Brighton. Well, I just ruined it now.
well, yeah, that's out there now.
Yeah.
Yeah, our friends in Tether. We've known Justin for a while, so and we shared a stage with them in Kingston at the Fighting Cocks
Yeah.
Oh,
last year.
cool.
So, and that's a cool venue anyway, cool place. So I'm looking forward to sharing stage with them again. And then there's a band called Lonesome that we're doing a gig swap with in Cambridge.
Cool.
And yeah, they're actually down here soon as well, doing the Hammer Down Festival.
Yes. Yeah.
So yeah,
Well,
Just a little whole mates fest
it
tour.
is pretty much.
I love that. Honestly, I love that. I love that. Like, say independent. I always say DIY, but I prefer to say independent kind of attitude or ethos when it comes to this sort of stuff. It's kind of it's still needed. There's a lot of people that don't follow that venture anymore. I used to book stuff when I was younger for a band I was in, and other shows as well. So I know kind of what you're sort of doing here and trying to sort of, you know, favor a scene or carry it, like bring out a scene, or just have a party every night,
Mhm.
bring people to it. People have a good time, they come back. And it's just sort of, it's great to sort of see that still live in the youth. Right there. Um, showing my age here, it's really bad. This is all natural gray. It's nothing, I didn't silver it up or anything. But yeah, no, that's great. I mean, obviously, I wish you luck on everything on that front. Like I said, I'm going to try and make it to at least one of those shows. Um, but where are tickets available from? Are they available from the venues? Are they available from have you got a link on the
Um,
site or anything?
yeah, so we've got them all on WREX.com, and that will take you to see tickets.
Okay, cool.
They're
So,
all online, but I think some of the venues do have them available as well. Not all of them. So
okay, cool. Um,
WREX.com.
That's all right. So as long as people got a way to buy the tickets and stuff like that, hopefully we'll get some people to those shows. But I've got a couple of questions left for you, if that's all right, and I'll let
Yeah,
you
yeah, of
have the
course.
rest of your evening. So what I'd like to find out, normally I ask for like 3 pivotal albums, but because there's two of you, I'm going to kind of shorten it down a little bit. I'm going to ask you each for 3 pivotal songs. Now, I don't necessarily mean your favorite songs. It's basically what I want to find out is a certain song you may have heard at some point, and it's like, I want to do that, or I love, it got you into that sort of style of music. So for me, I don't know, metal, it was Motorhead. I saw it on the TV show called The Young Ones when I was younger, and they played Ace of Spades on this random sitcom. And from then on, my sort of love for metal has continued. But no, what for you guys? Like, because obviously you're a bit younger than I, but what are your sort of like, pivotal songs, if you will?
Think for me, I'm gonna go teenage years. I'm gonna go with Papa Roach, Last Resort,
Nice,
because I just love everything Papa Roach. Can't
nice.
get enough of them. Going to the Infest tour as well, actually. Looking
Ah,
forward to that. Who's gonna be next? Probably, actually, I think Bullet for My Valentine,
yep.
Tears Don't Fall, because I remember listening to that for the first time and it absolutely blowing my mind. I think that was like, wow, this is metal. So I think that for me was a big one. And I'm probably gonna go with Faithless for the last one.
Nice.
The song's gonna be tricky though. It's either gonna be Tarantula or God is a DJ. Do I have to choose?
No, you can have both.
Perfect. I'll
Fine.
stick with that.
Cool. And how about yourself, George?
I'm really shit with song names, but I would say Linkin Park,
Yep.
uh, like Breaking the Habit. I remember my cousin giving me that album,
Yep.
and I remember having an argument with someone in my family, and just that moment of shutting your door as like a 10-year-old kid and just putting that on really loud and rocking out to that.
Nice.
Um, and yeah, I remember that. Um, I'm still it's Enema of the State, like Blink-182, that record, like the guitar tones have always been like just absolutely phenomenal. I think I just remember jumping around to that entire record as a kid. Um, I remember the first time I heard it and was just like, oh my God, what is that? And the energy. And then I guess, I don't know, I wouldn't be able to say a song, but Chase and Status.
Oh,
Like,
nice.
I just remember hearing like Chase and Status. And there was this thing at high school for me, it would have been like sixth form. And like, there was this like, unwritten bond between the metal kids
Mm.
and the sort of dance and dubstep kids.
Yeah.
And then there was the jocks. And
Yeah.
like at my school, there was like two common rooms, and there was like the big one where all the jocks and the rugby players hung out. And then there was like the one where we all were, and there was like the metal kids and the dance music kids kind of, there was this like unwritten allegiance between us. And I just remember like we used to share the stereo, and I remember when anyone would put on Chase and Status, I'd be like, "That's banging, that's sick, I love that." I just love the energy.
Oh, that's fantastic. I love Chase and Status. I love Faithless as well. But no, all those are great. Papa Roach, obviously Papa Roach been they're still going. It's fantastic. They've I know they've managed to keep going. They've managed to adapt and stay relevant. I think that is it's really like it's one of those bands that have kind of kept, stood the test of time, if you will. And their old stuff doesn't sound dated either, which is weird for some bands in that sort of genre. But no, I mean, Bullet for My Valentine, again, another band I've known them for a little while as well. Linkin Park, can't really say anything else about Linkin Park because Linkin Park, Blink 182, same thing. But no, Chase and Status, fantastic. I've seen them live, DJ sets, and I've seen them live as a their sort of duo and MCs and everything. I was at the Warriors Dance Festival back in whenever that was at Milton Keynes Bowl. And they brought out like Plan B and that lot to
Oh
do
wow.
those early tracks and stuff, which was absolutely mad. But it was like the Prodigy's big sort of festival, and like Enter Shikari
Mm.
on the bill as well, and
Oh, I like that.
I
Mm.
think Pendulum were on it as well. I think
Yeah,
Pendulum were on it as well. So it's quite a bill. I mean, now it's quite a bill as well. So it's
yeah.
still good. But no, they're all fantastic tunes there. Fantastic. So finally, what are your hobbies away from music? So when you're not doing stuff for rec.
Oh, how long have you got? Maybe you go first.
I mean, I'm honest, I'm pretty boring. Like my life is basically music and music production and guitar based.
Okay.
Outside of that, like I like bikes. I like road bikes, like cycling. Well, all bikes. BMX. It started as BMXing as a kid,
Yeah.
and then I realized that I'm not very good at that, and it hurts when you fall off. Um, and now I love cycling, like as a sort of decompression from stuff and getting away from everything. Um, I think I can't skate anymore. I can't BMX anymore, so it's like the closest thing I can do
Yeah.
that still feels fun for me. So like I'd say cycling, and yeah, that's kind of my worlds. My two things, bit of computer games.
Yeah.
Like I'm a simple man.
It's good.
You spend most of your time in here anyway.
Yeah, literally. Like I spend so much time in this room. Like I work in here, I mix in here.
Yeah.
Like I'm very fortunate that music has given me a career that is my job. Um Equally, like, that's just the dedication it's taken to get to that point. I just spend a lot of time obsessed with Pro Tools.
Okay. It is an obsession.
Yeah. I just love it. I love finding sounds. It's not work to me. Once I finish work, I like just making noises.
Yeah.
Um,
Fair enough.
but yeah, outside of music, bikes and computer games and
Yeah.
tattoos, actually.
Tattoos. Okay, cool.
Not that you'd know from.
Um, yeah, like I started to learn to draw Flash and stuff like that. My friends all that's what they all do.
Yeah.
So I started like picking up bits from them and like learning my way around that world
Nice.
of traddy tattoos.
Yeah.
Nice.
Nice.
Oh, I'm just anything arts and crafts. I'm there. So
Okay.
I've like, yeah, I've got a dog, so I make like leather items, like obviously
Okay, cool.
collars for her, but
Yeah.
like belts and things for me. Just yeah, anything arts and crafts really. Got into photography at the end of last year, so I've been taking photos of bands.
Okay.
That's been really good fun, like big learning curve as well, I think, being on the other end of the camera.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and then having the dog walks. So we're doing Ben Nevis in a couple of weeks, aren't we?
Yeah, gonna conquer
So
Third Peak.
yeah, the dog's 9. We're dragging her up a mountain.
Oh, dog. I got 2 dogs myself, and that they wouldn't part with that. They would.
She'll enjoy it. She might not enjoy the way back down.
Yeah. Yeah. I might have to keep looking around. Normally my dogs are in here with me, but they're not today. But yeah, no, that's really cool. I love that. I love that. And it's good to get away from the like, the studio in that case. And
Yeah.
just have that like other thing going on. It's always important. But guys, thank you very much for your time. I really appreciate it. Good luck with the EP. Again, everyone, it's out on the 16th of August. It's called This Hell Goes a Long Way Down. And is it independently released? I forgot to ask this earlier. Is it an independent release? So
Yeah, so again, we're completely independent. We have our own DIY little label.
cool.
We're, as you said, independent rather than DIY. We're completely that world of
Yep.
we make the records, we fully self-release, self-manage, self-book. So yeah, it's
Cool.
all that
Are
world.
you doing physical media for this release, or is it purely digital?
We
Um,
did look at it.
at the moment, it's purely digital.
Yeah.
Maybe we actually have a test pressing over there
Oh,
of a
just about to
vinyl.
see it, Lisa.
Um, so there may be some vinyl at some point, but we'll see.
If there's vinyl, let me know.
Yeah,
This isn't a backdrop. These are real turntables. So
sick.
I'll prove
Yeah.
I touched them. It's there. See, it's real. So, but yeah, no, I'm a big DJ here, so it's like I grew up on mixing vinyl records and stuff like that, but I deal with digital as well. Not adverse to it. I've got loads of DJ. Stupid, but that's my sort of world. But yeah, good luck with the release. Everyone, like I said, it's out on October the 16th. You can get it at WREX.com, as well as I'm assuming Bandcamp, Apple Music, Spotify, all the usual haunts when it comes to digital releases and stuff like that. But yeah, Mae, George, good luck and thank you.
Thanks
Thanks.
so much for having us.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
See you in August.
Yes, see you in August. Have a good rest of your evening, guys.
Bye.
You too.